My daughter was 10 years old when she looked up at me from the back seat of the car and asked, "Mama, are we finally leaving?" Finally. I hadn't told a soul what I was planning. I thought I'd hidden it all, the fear, the shame, all of it. But my 10-year-old, she'd been waiting for years. She just didn't know how to say it until the night I finally packed the bag. That was 40 years ago. 3 children in the back seat, $40 folded in my brassiere, and a husband asleep in a house I would never walk into again. Everybody told me I was ruining my children's lives. Everybody said a broken home is worse than an unhappy one. Everybody swore I'd come crawling back inside a month. So I want you to look at where I'm sitting tonight, this warm room, all these family photos, my daughter's house, my house now, a grandbaby down the hall who calls me Gigi, and a supper table in the next room where every single chair is full. I'm 82 years old, and tonight I'm going to tell you the truth about marriage, the truth nobody told me, the truth I had to learn, the hardest way a woman can learn it, because some of you watching are living tonight what I lived then. And there are things I wish to God somebody had said to me when I was young and sure and about to give my whole life away. So stay with me. Every word of this I paid for. I'm going to tell you about the moment my husband raised his hand and what my 12-year-old son did that I will never forget as long as I live. I'm going to tell you the lie I believed on my wedding day that nearly cost me everything. I'm going to tell you about the nights my children went to bed hungry after I left, and the night I almost went crawling back just to feed them. And I'm going to tell you the one truth that finally set me free. It's not what you'd think, and I don't want it to take you as long to learn as it took me. My name is Della, and I need you to understand one thing before I begin. This is not a sad story. This is the story of how I lost everything I was afraid to lose and found out I was stronger than all of it. I came out the other side, standing up, and so can you. I met Raymond when I was 19 years old, and Lord, he was handsome. He had a way of looking at you, like you were the only woman who had ever walked the earth. I believed, the way every young girl was taught to believe, that love was that feeling, the flutter, the heat of it. I thought, if you felt it strong enough, everything else would just work itself out. That was the first lie. And I want to name it plainly, because they still sell it to young people today. Love, the feeling, is not the thing that holds a marriage. The feeling comes and goes, like weather. What holds a marriage is something else entirely. And I didn't know that yet. We married when I was 20. I wore my mother's dress. I had never been so happy or so sure of anything. The first years were good enough. Junior came along, then Patrice, then little Sam. 3 babies in 5 years. And somewhere in there, Raymond changed. Or maybe he didn't change. Maybe I just started to see who he'd been all along. He started drinking, not every night, but enough. And when the drink was in him, his words turned sharp. Raymond never had to raise his hand to make me feel small. He could do it with a sentence, and he knew exactly which one. He'd disappear. 2 days, 3. I learned not to ask where. I learned a lot of things in those years that no young bride should ever have to learn. And there were other women. I knew. A wife always knows. I'm not going to sit here and list every wound. That's not what this is for. And I'll tell you the truth. There are things that happened in those years, things I carried, that I have never told a living soul. Not my children, Not my sister. Some of it I will take with me, because saying it out loud, I'm just not able to. Even now, all these years later, maybe one day, but not tonight. What I can tell you is what it does to a woman. Slowly, over years, you start to shrink. You start to believe that maybe you deserve the coldness, that maybe if you were prettier, quieter, better, he'd stay home, that maybe it's your fault. That is the lie underneath the lie, and I believed it for years, right up until the night it nearly cost me everything. Now here is the part that still catches in my throat. I thought I was protecting my children. I thought if I kept the house running, kept supper on the table, kept my face calm, they wouldn't see. Children don't see, I told myself. They're too young. They don't understand. Children see everything. My junior, my oldest. He got quiet, too young. He learned to read the sound of his daddy's car in the driveway and know what kind of night it was going to be before the engine even cut off. No boy should have that skill. Patrice, my girl, she got hard. She promised me at 14 she would never, ever need a man for anything. And she kept that promise into her 40s. And little Sam just wanted everybody to be happy. He'd tell jokes at the dinner table when the air went cold. This little boy, trying to hold his whole family together with silliness. He made himself the peacemaker before he was 10 years old. I stayed for them. That's what I told myself. I'm staying for my children. I'll come back to that. Because there was a night everything changed. The night I stopped telling myself that lie. And I have to tell you about it. It was a Tuesday in the fall. Raymond came home with the drink in him, and meaner than usual, and we got to arguing in the kitchen. I don't even remember over what. It never really mattered what. And for the first time in all those years, he raised his hand to me. Now I need to be careful how I tell you this, because I'm not here to relive it, and you don't need me to. So I'll tell you the only part that matters. He raised his hand, and over his shoulder, in the kitchen doorway, I saw my 3 children standing there, all 3. They'd come down at the noise, and they were watching. Junior had stepped in front of the little ones, 12 years old, and he'd already put himself between his baby brother and his own father, with his fists balled up and his whole body shaking, and Raymond stopped. He saw them too, and he stopped, and he went out to the porch. But it was too late, because in that 1 second, I had seen my children's faces, and I saw the exact moment my junior learned that this was what a home looked like, what a husband looked like, what a wife was supposed to take. I had spent years telling myself I was protecting them by keeping the peace, and in that one moment I understood the truth. I wasn't protecting them from anything. I was teaching them. I was showing my sons how to be a man, and showing my daughter what to accept from one. And I would not be the woman who taught them that. That was the night the lie died, not the fear. The fear was still there. But the lie, that staying was the good and noble thing, that died right there on my kitchen floor. I didn't wait for morning. I didn't wait for him to sober up and be sorry, the way he always got sorry. I packed 1 suitcase. I woke my 3 babies. Junior was 12, Patrice was 10, little Sam was 7, and I put their shoes on their feet myself, my hands shaking the whole time. I had $40 folded in my brassiere and my sister's address in Memphis on a scrap of paper. And you remember what my Patrice said to me, the words I told you at the very start. As I was buckling Sam into that car, she looked up at me and asked, "Mama, are we finally going?" Finally. My 10-year-old had been waiting for this night, longer than I had. So I drove all night with 3 children and $40, and I did not look back at that house one single time. That was the bravest and most terrifying thing I ever did. And I'm not going to pretend to you that it got easier on the other side, because here's the truth nobody tells you about leaving. Leaving is not the hard part. Leaving is one night. Surviving what comes after. That's the part that nearly broke me. Let me tell you about it honestly, because if you're standing where I stood, you deserve to know what's coming. We landed on my sister Ruth Ann's floor in Memphis. God bless that woman. She had 4 rooms and 5 children of her own, and she took in the 4 of us without blinking, but 4 extra mouths in an already full house. I knew I couldn't lean on her long. I had to stand on my own feet and fast, and I could not find work. That was the first wall. I had married at 20. I had no diploma, no trade, no experience anybody would put on a piece of paper. I walked into every shop, every diner, every laundry in that part of the city. No experience. Come back when you've got a reference. We're not hiring. Some of them looked at a woman with 3 children and no husband, like I was a problem before I even opened my mouth. I filled out slips of paper for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And every no chipped a piece off me, because every night I'd go back to my sister's crowded floor and think, maybe I made a terrible mistake. Maybe I ruined my children's lives to save my own pride. That voice was loud in those weeks. I want you to know that. Even when you've done the right thing, it can feel like the wrong thing right in the middle of it. The second wall is the one that still hurts to say out loud. There were nights my children went to bed hungry. I'd stretch a pot of beans across 4 days. I'd tell them I'd already eaten, so there'd be more in their bowls. And every mother watching knows that particular lie. One evening, little Sam, 7 years old, looked down at his near-empty plate, and then he pushed half of what he had back across the table to me and said, "You have some, Mama. You didn't eat again." A 7-year-old boy trying to take care of his mother. That night, I went into my sister's bathroom, and I cried so hard I had to run the water so nobody would hear me. That was the lowest I ever was, lower than any night in that marriage. And I'll be honest with you, that was the night I very nearly went back to Raymond. Not because I missed him, because at least in that house, there had been food on the table. That is how desperation works on a person. It makes going backward look like rescue. But I didn't go back. I sat on that cold bathroom floor, and I made myself a promise. I am going to claw us out of this. It will not always be like this. My children will not grow up remembering only the hunger. And here is where I have to tell you about my sister, because I would not be sitting here today without her. Ruth Ann didn't just give us her floor. One morning she took my face in her 2 hands and she said, "Della, you keep looking for somebody to let you work. Stop asking permission. Go make yourself useful, and don't you leave until they see it." So the next day, I walked into a hospital laundry. And when the man said, "No experience," I said, "Then let me work one day for free. And if I'm not the hardest worker you've got by supper time, you owe me nothing." He was so surprised. He let me try, and I did not leave that building until that man hired me 40 cents an hour to start. I have never in my life been so proud of 40 cents. Ruth Ann minded my 3 after school while I worked. I took every extra shift they'd give me. I scrubbed and folded and hauled until my hands cracked and bled that first winter. And slow. So slow it didn't even feel like progress from the inside. We climbed, a rented room of our own, then a little apartment, then real shoes for all 3 children at the same time, which I remember buying like it was a coronation. It took years. I won't pretend it was quick, and I won't pretend it was pretty. It was the hardest decade of my life. But every single month, we were 1/2 inch further from that bathroom floor, and that 1/2 inch was mine. Nobody gave it to me. And now, let me tell you where that road led, because this is the part I want you to hold on to tonight. My junior, the quiet boy who used to listen for his daddy's car, he became a school teacher, 30 years in a classroom. Hundreds of children who felt safe with him because he knew exactly what it was to not feel safe. He lives 20 minutes from me, and he calls every Sunday. My Patrice, my hard girl, the one who said, finally, in the back of that car, she runs her own business now, and she did learn to let love in her own time, and married a gentle man who deserves her. She tells everyone who'll listen that her mama taught her a woman never has to stay anywhere she isn't treated right. And little Sam, my peacemaker, who pushed his plate across the table to his mother. He grew up to be a nurse, spends every day of his life taking care of other people. Of course he did. And me, I live with Patrice and her family now. There's a grandbaby who calls me Gigi and falls asleep on my chest of an evening. My house is loud and it is warm, and there is always enough food on that table. I set it every night, and every chair is full. That is where leaving led. It did not lead there fast, but it led there. And I would walk every hard mile of it again to sit in the chair I'm sitting in tonight. So let me say a hard truth plainly, having lived both sides of it. We tell women to stay for the children. Keep the family together, no matter the cost. My whole generation was raised on that. But children do not need an intact house. They need a peaceful one. And those two things are not always the same. My 3 did not need me to stay and slowly disappear. They needed to watch their mother decide. She was worth more, because that turned out to be the lesson they carried into their own lives. And I can see it in the good, strong people they became. Now hear me clearly, because this matters. I am not standing here telling you to leave. That choice is yours alone. And it is harder and more dangerous than anyone on the outside can know. I had a sister with a floor to offer, and not every woman has that. And I will never pretend otherwise. If you are in danger, you find the people and the helplines that exist for exactly this. You make a plan and you keep yourself safe. But do not believe the lie that your suffering is a gift to your children. Your strength is the gift. They are watching to see what you believe you deserve. So show them something true. Now let me tell you the thing I carried about Raymond. For a long, long time, years after I left, I learned his own father had been 10 times what Raymond ever was. Raymond grew up ducking, the same way my junior learned to for a little while. Somewhere along the way, that boy swore he'd be different, and then became a quieter version of the same thing and hated himself for it. That does not excuse one single day of what he did. Let me be very clear. Understanding why a man is broken does not mean you owe him your one life to fix him. I spent too many years believing that if I just loved him hard enough, I could heal what his mother couldn't. You cannot love a person into being well. That is not your job, and it was never in your power. Write that on your hand. He passed some years back. Before he did, he sent word that he wanted to see me. I went, for me, not for him. And he took my hand and said, "Della, you were better to me than I ever was to you, and I knew it every single day." That was the only apology I got in a lifetime. 15 words. And I'll tell you something that surprised even me. I took it. I set it down, and I let it go. Not for his sake, for mine. Because carrying that anger was heavier than laying it down, and I had already carried enough for one life. So here is the truth that finally set me free, and it's the one I most want you to hear. My worth was never, not for one single day, measured by how that man treated me. I had it backwards my whole young life. I thought if he was cold, then I must be worth the cold. If he ran, then I must not be worth staying for. It was never true, not once. His behavior was a mirror of what was broken in him, never a measure of what was lacking in me. And the day I truly understood that, sitting in an apartment I paid for with my own 2 cracked hands, I stopped shrinking for good. He didn't set me free. Leaving didn't even set me free, not by itself. I set me free the day I finally believed I was worth the leaving. So here is what I'd tell my 20-year-old self in that borrowed wedding dress. Here is the truth about marriage that nobody told me. Love, the feeling, is not enough. It never was. What holds 2 people is respect and safety and choosing each other on the ordinary days. You cannot love a broken person into being whole. Only they can do that. Your children see everything, everything. Give them peace over appearances. Your worth is not measured by how you are treated. A person's cruelty is a mirror of them, never of you. And it is never, hear me, never too late to reclaim your own life. Some days I think the best years of my whole life are the ones I'm living right now, in this warm, full house I built after I stopped waiting on a man to become someone he wasn't. People ask me sometimes if I ever remarried. I didn't, and they get a sad look, like that's the tragedy of the story. But I want you to hear me. I was not looking for a man to complete a table. I already had a full one, 3 children who grew up strong and kind, their children, a sister who saved my life, a job I was proud of, a laugh I got back. I set my table every single night, and every chair is full, not because a husband finally showed up, but because I built a life worth sitting down to. If I could reach back through all those years to that young woman in her mother's wedding dress, so sure that love was enough, so ready to shrink herself to keep a man, I'd take her face in my hands, the way my sister took mine, and I'd tell her one thing: you are already enough. You always were. Don't you give one more year to waiting for somebody to tell you so. Now, I want to hear from you, because this is how we help each other. Tell me in the comments, are you married? And how long? And what is one truth about marriage that you've learned that nobody warned you about? The young ones are reading. Your words might be the thing that reaches somebody tonight. And if you're sitting there right now in a home that doesn't feel safe, please talk to someone you trust or reach out to a local helpline in your country. You do not have to carry it alone, and you do not have to carry it in silence. I wish I'd known that at 30. If an old woman's hard-won truth gave you something tonight, stay with me. There's a new story here every week from someone who's walked the road you're standing on. Next time, I'll tell you about the friendship that saved my life in my 60s, the one my children never knew about. It's not what you think. Now go on, and if you take one thing from me tonight, take this. You are already enough.